Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of Out of Bounds, Out of Bounds, Out of Bounds. I'm your host, Rashad Milligan, joined here by my co-host, Mr. Curtis Johnson. Kurt, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Just saw another close but not so close Piston loss, and they're getting beat by some people we traded away for. I think we got a song for one of them, and the other one we may have gotten five not so golden rings.
So, but yeah, I guess. I mean, you guys beat the Hawks, but I don't know if that's saying much this season. But
well, Hawks are playoff bound. The Pistons,
maybe.
I think the only team that's got a record worse than them is the Orlando Magic.
Right. But I mean, Bagley's in the picture now. Things are looking a little bit more up for Detroit. In
Lord,
my
I
opinion,
hope so.
in my
Lord, I hope so. Because I put my money where my mouth is. I got 4 season tickets. 4.
That's a lot of money.
Well, God's been good to me.
I heard it. But Kurt, we have a special guest in the building today, man. I thought I was gonna get a bounce back or like, who is it? But I guess
I'm gonna introduce her.
I'll go in. Who is it? Well, I'll tell you, Kurt. Helen, all the way from the Carolinas, we have someone who is represented for years and years and years now, a vet in the game. March is Women's History Month. We want to make sure that we give this queen her credit. Queen of the week is the
Queen of the week
as well. Miss Sheena Quick. Sheena, how are you doing today?
Title. I'm impressed and I am flattered. I'm great. How are you?
No, proud. Happy to have you here. Happy to have you in the game and, able to withstand the slings and arrows and still represent our people well.
Oh, I try.
To tell me about you. I'm glad you're here.
Well, I'm glad you guys have me on.
Well, Sheena, I know we can go the whole career route and stuff like that. I want to go news first. It's the biggest thing in football right now. Deshaun Watson. Yay or nay to the Panthers? And first things first. Deshaun Watson, what are your thoughts on the whole no federal charges, no criminal charges? Second, Panthers and the Aints, the two teams in the division looking at Deshaun.
I mean, you didn't mention the Bucks.
And the Bucks.
The only team with like a solid starter going into the season in the NFC South is the Falcons. So I think that it's just up in the air. I do not think he comes to Carolina if there are other options on the table. I think that if he comes to Carolina, it's kind of a last team standing type of deal. That's just my opinion, though.
Tough. Well, I guess just what do you think it means? Is there any significance to 22 criminal charges being dismissed this past week?
I think it's interesting, and I've always told people that to be fair to both sides, it's best to not take a side because we definitely don't know what happened. I mean, obviously they didn't find enough evidence to pursue criminal charges, but he still has the civil stuff out there. And it's one of those situations where when you read the materials that have been out there on Reddit or whatever, it leaves you kind of to pause, but only if one person is telling the truth, it is what it is. But if one person is lying, it negates everyone else. So it's just such a slippery slope. And I'm definitely not envious of the young women that are making the allegations because obviously something happened, whether it was consensual or not, is what remains to be seen. So it's just so hard to talk about that because if you take a stance, you could be potentially doing one party wrong. Like he could be completely innocent and these women could be completely telling the truth. So you just want to err on the side of caution when you're talking about it.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned the Saints, and wouldn't that be something? Deshaun, who is under this cloud, going to a team like the Saints. But I know with the Panthers, I know you guys owners have had some issues too, so that'd be kind of bittersweet.
Well,
with these women.
You're thinking of Jerry Richardson. You're thinking of Jerry Richardson, and they made him sell the team. So a lot of the female fans on Twitter, like, how you guys made Jerry Richardson sell the team, but you're inviting Deshaun Watson, who has this cloud over his head. So it's definitely fractured the fan base, even though he's not necessarily a Carolina Panther yet.
Right. And to Sheena's point too, something similar, well, not necessarily similar, but something that could be similar just came out with Chris Brown, where the woman made all these allegations, and then once they unraveled the text messages that they probably thought was deleted, but as we know, nothing's ever really deleted.
Yeah.
I think they got this stuff out, some with an S or something. Signal that supposedly you can, crypt some emails. I don't trust that. I don't trust that. You know what I trust? Keeping my mouth shut and saying the right thing, or being able to own whatever I said and do. That's the easiest way.
Yeah. But I mean, that's too much like right. But you do that's too much like right,
Yeah, say that.
So, this obviously something happened.
Yeah. Who wants to do the right thing other than Spike Lee? Who else wants to do the right thing? Listen, nobody wants to do the right thing. Not all the time.
Do the right thing. Nobody want to do the right thing. But yeah, it's just, if one woman is lying, it negates if the other 20 to 21 women are telling the truth. Like, it's so hard, because it is hard for sexual abuse victims to come forth. And because of things like this, where sometimes it might be hard to pin a criminal case, but it just wasn't enough evidence, but something's there. So it's just such a really, really, really tough subject, especially, it being Women's Month and the NFL having, the black eye that they've had with regards to racism and discrimination. And to be fair, the league has not necessarily been that protective of women at all. So you're seeing these guys that beat their wives and they're getting like 2 and 3 game suspensions or a couple weeks suspension, and they're on tape beating women. But then you look on the other side where Calvin Ridley placed the bed and he's losing a whole season. So the NFL hasn't necessarily been too kind to protecting women. So that could come into play also, because even if a trade goes down, he could go on the commissioner's exempt list while these civil cases play out. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when Zeke Elliott, they couldn't find any evidence to press criminal charges against him, and he still was suspended. So that's something that the teams that acquired Deshaun Watson have to be willing to take on. The last that I could say for sure is that his camp was anticipating that there would be a suspension. They're anticipating maybe 4 to 5 games, but of course Goodell has the final say so on that. So it's a weird place. The NFL is in an odd position right now, for sure. And you wonder if, with all the brushback that they're getting after the Calvin Ridley decision, if they're going to make an example out of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, they tend to keep themselves in hot water, and they never want to really make a stance. They never really make a strong stance. It always seems that in these social issues and legal issues that they rather be reactive and punitive than forthright. And they often want to engage the wrong people to find out, in my opinion, this is my opinion, black folks' problems. They asking the wrong black people the wrong questions about real black people problems.
I can see that.
Right. Now, Sheena, one thing I kind of wanted to ask you about, with it being Women's History Month, as I guess a woman in football and everything like that. Of course, a couple of years ago over there in Carolina, you guys had the entire Cam thing where Cam, it was like, oh, I never heard a woman talk about Real Routes. And in Washington, our sister up there and everything with Rhiannon and stuff, what she dealt with up there with the Washington football team. And there's plenty of other examples. I just want to ask you, as a woman in the game or around the league, what is that kind of experience like firsthand, and how can the NFL and just, I guess, football culture or just men culture, where do you think it stems from, and where do you think men can do a better job of inclusion and making it comfortable for women?
I actually was in the press conference room the day that went down with Jordan and Cam. And being there in person, I can say that he said it in jest. I didn't feel like he was being offensive. I thought that he was being a little kind of, complimentary. And, she has looked at it in a different way in the years that have passed, because her life changed a lot. It changed tremendously. And her work was overshadowed because how Black Twitter does, and they went to, dialing up, and anything she's ever tweeted since she was a toddler was under a microscope. And she had a really, really tough time with that. But I also think that there is the element of attention. And Twitter and social media has made that a drug. And I don't think that in the moment she was offended by it, but someone told her that she should be. Because that press conference had been over for 3 hours before I, opened up my Twitter app. And I was like, why are people just now talking about this? Like, it wasn't that big of a deal when it happened. Like, if you would have thought that when it happened that it was so, crazy that, Panthers PR is right there. They could have shut that thing down. And they didn't, because no one really saw it as that. Now, in the meantime, I think that Cam has become more sensitive to that from a personal standpoint. And I think that Jordan has grown from it also, because she had a rough time coming back. And she's actually one of the women that I really do admire in this field, because she's very, very smart and very good at her job. Her and Rhiannon is also a super duper pro. She doesn't invite opportunities for people to disrespect her. So to see and hear and read what she was going through, it was really, really disheartening. But I will say that I had the joy and the luxury of coming onto the beat under Ron Rivera. That wasn't happening under his watch. He and his wife have been very, very instrumental in elevating women in the game. You see, he hired Jennifer King. She interned here at Carolina. Then he hired her full time up in Washington. So they're always trying to grow the game. And I've been able to align myself with really, really good allies. So I have been lucky in that regard, and some women aren't.
No, for sure. And I guess kind of even, well, Kurt, first things first, if you have anything on that, because I have a bunch of other questions. So I'll just anything, Kurt? Anything? 1, 2, 3?
No, my phone is
Wi-Fi. So in the meantime, there you go, Kurt. Kurt, are you back? Yeah, I think you're back. Yeah. Well, in the meantime, kind of transition. Okay, I think you're back. Transitioning to I had other questions, because Carolina, there's so much kind of historical or kind of noteworthy things that have happened there in the past few years. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about seeing that Eric Reid kind of historical moment that season there for yourself. What did you get from working so closely to Eric Reid in those times and stuff?
And a lot of people champion Eric Reid as a social justice warrior, but he's also very instrumental. We had a situation as far as elevating women. Also, we had a little situation in the locker room where he was doing open locker room. He wasn't doing any one-on-ones. And there's an ESPN reporter that was talking, and of course, all of us are recording. And he was like, "Well, can you just leave?" And I was like, "You talking to me?" And he was like, I'm doing a one-on-one. And Eric was like, "No, this isn't a one-on-one. This is open locker room. She can stand here." And he wouldn't even answer any more of his questions. So before he left, he was like, "Sister, don't ever let anybody do that to you." I said, "Well, you know what? I have to kind of behave a certain way, because if I lash out in the locker room, people are looking at me. They're not looking at him." And so it was kind of cool to see him understand and know that from my perspective, how I could have gotten typecast. So he stepped in and rectified the situation himself. I've only told a couple of people this, but he's definitely he was a bright spot on that Panthers team. And to keep seeing him have these little letters in his locker after the game to go constantly get drug tested, I thought he handled that pretty well also.
Wow. And Kurt, Matt, now that we have you back, do you have anything that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just want to make maybe a broad statement and see how factual it is. But I think the Panthers is the only football team to have the same black quarterback twice. Is that right?
You mean as far as like releasing Cam and then bringing him back?
Yeah, just period though. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Huh. You might be right.
Yeah, I kind of
that's a cool that's an interesting statistic. I have to look that up.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Right.
Yeah, because generally, once a guy, black guy leaves a team, they never make a victory lap. But that's happened oftentimes with
Also, I'm sorry, Kurt. We have breaking news. Tom Brady is back. So you can take Tampa Bay off of the Deshaun Watson list.
Stop playing.
Tom Brady just announced that he's returning for his 23rd season in Tampa Bay.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, he just
Wow.
needed to be able to do what he wanted to do for about 3 weeks without anybody saying anything.
These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates and I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for a 23rd season in Tampa Bay. Unfinished business. LF.
The GOAT.
Was that from his official account?
That is right here. It's right here on the screen.
Yeah.
Tom
GOAT.
Brady
Tom Brady is a menace.
I don't think many people actually believe that he was gonna like. That's the thing about this. I don't think anyone actually thought he was gonna. They knew this would be a Brett Favre situation. Go ahead, Kurt.
All right. Well, here's the thing with Tom Brady and number 23 and in LA. I believe that somewhere in Florida they found what's that guy? The guy who supposedly the real guy who discovered America, that fountain of youth, and they start drinking from that because it makes no sense for them guys to perform at the level that they're performing at for the years that they're performing at. I mean, cats that they could have got drafted with may go into the Hall of Fame while they still playing.
It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
It's
like you said, like he's gonna be like in his Hall of Fame jacket, take it off, put on his pads for the next week. It's getting to that point, but yeah, Tom Brady's back, so that's something. But Sheena, I also wanted to ask you about what do you think it is about Cam Newton specifically that's so difficult for the NFL to accept?
Because he's black and he does what he wants. He's unapologetically black. I think that's going to be some of the same issues you see Lamar Jackson have.
Yeah.
He's unapologetically black. You notice we don't get a lot of Russell Wilson so cocky because Russell's safe. Teddy Bridgewater's so cocky. Teddy Bridgewater was safe. Now, but Teddy Bridgewater was outspoken in his social activism when he was with the Panthers, but he still was safe. He was still safe. He didn't have the Basquiat wicks. He didn't wear what he wanted to wear. He didn't have, the sugar tooth decked out in diamonds. He's not this 6'5" opposing figure that polarizes the room. And as much as people hate to admit it, white people, there's a lot of white people that still have a problem with that.
Yeah. And one of the things that happened,
like, he gets such a bad rap, and this man has put kids in the league repeatedly. Deshaun Watson's one of them. His 7-on-7 is fully funded. Parents don't have to pay a dime. Unless that changed in the last 12 months. They don't have to
shout out my guy Triquez Bridges, Quez over there in Oregon, safety, cornerback over there, growing up in the 7-on-7 program. He always told me Cam was like a big brother to him, And
I mean, he takes those kids. He takes those kids everywhere. He takes them under his wing. When he was in Carolina, he did a lot of philanthropic things. He used to have Santa Cam. He'd go around and would give out almost $100,000 of donations. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years back when there's the big hurricane. Julius Peppers pledged either $100,000 or $150,000. Cam Newton matched that. He doesn't bite back at criticisms publicly. So it's just like, what is your problem other than the fact that this is a man who marches to the beat of his own drum? He's not a deadbeat dad. He has hella kids, but he's taking care of them. Like, there's nothing you can say. What he dabbed in 2015, he had everybody dabbing. You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm old.
What it is. Huh?
Do that one more time. Do that one more time.
And I'm old.
I thought you had more soul than that. We need a better dab.
Oh, yeah. Maybe, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna give
light
you a
skin still can't win. I see it.
You're in the car. I'll give you a pass.
Thank
you. Have
you.
Limited range of motion. I got it.
All right. I appreciate that. And here's the thing too, Sheena. What's still to this day is so bad that, if it wasn't for black media, if it wasn't for sisters like you, those things about Cam Newton wouldn't get publicized. Whereas if you hit that certain mold, and and they like you, and I'm talking about mainstream, everything about you. I mean, it's almost as bad, y'all. We're gonna
you're on mute. You're on mute, Kurt.
It happens all the time. And and I'm into this thing, so I got a whole bunch of people in this NCAA stuff, and they kids, and they never show the mama and the daddy. They always be trying to show the mama still, even when the people are married. It makes no sense that the media will not tell the real picture about Black people really doing real things for Black people. They won't do it. They want to keep it like a big time secret.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it goes against the narrative. And honestly, that's one of the things that I got into journalism to do, to tell the stories of these Black athletes who, for all intents and purposes, it might not get out there because they don't feel comfortable. Some people don't feel comfortable. Like, they like to see people that look like them and that relate to them. And I get a lot of flack on Twitter. What are your sources? What are your sources? Well, I was a D1 athlete. I was a D1 athlete. I know a lot of these guys from AAUs, we're running track meets all day from 12 and 13 years old. I'm then running at NC State and running at Florida State. I know these guys. So it's not hard to have sources, like, especially if you're a former athlete. Super easy.
Right.
I mean, just like if I had tweeted out that Aaron Rodgers was taking this massive contract and I was wrong, like, was it Ian Rappaport was last week? People would still be talking about it. It was either
every
Ian or
tweet.
Adam. It was one of them. Do you remember? And Rodgers came out and was like, well, I am going back, but that's not my contract. We would still be hearing about it. Like, I would still be getting DMs and shit, excuse my French, trash talking tweets directed at me if I had done that. But this is somebody that has better sources and all those things and a bigger name. But it was just forgotten that he even tweeted it.
Yeah,
sure. Like, it didn't even happen.
Exactly. So salute my guy Scoop Robinson over there, who covers the NBA on an independent basis. He's got picked up by Bally Sports. Last year at the trade deadline, he said Kyle Lowry to Miami. Kyle Lowry didn't go to Miami at the trade deadline. Everybody started making jokes about how he looked, started making jokes about this. Every time he tweeted something for the next about 6 months, every single tweet, someone would have that screenshot. Kyle Lowry to Miami, Scoop Robinson. What happened in the offseason? Kyle Lowry went to Miami.
I mean, the same thing happened with, they were like, oh, you said that Deshaun Watson was going by the trade deadline. I said, yeah, given that he would know his punishment from the NFL at the owners meeting, he didn't find that out. So no teams were comfortable trading, and they did not know how long he'd be out. Like, it's not a difficult concept.
Right.
But it's a different world.
And you know what? In the world, right, sure. People remember what they want to remember. And guess what, sis? If we make a mistake, a misstep, if my god baby calls again because she's forgetting that Papa is on the doing a podcast right now, guess what? The sun's still gonna shine.
And I'm still gonna tweet. I don't care. That's the thing about me. You gotta understand, I do not care, and I have time. So if you want to roast, we can roast. Yeah, my family grew up roasting. Okay.
Yeah.
We can roast all day.
Yeah. Is that still playing the dozens?
Yeah, I used to call it playing the dozens, and somebody was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Man, I'm just gonna roast you. That's it."
Yeah.
It's going well. In Atlanta they call it Joning.
Yeah, Joning.
Yeah, I know Joning.
See, I had to make sure my kids were well versed in roasting and Joning, because you can't be on the bus and you Sheena quick.
Right.
When you talk about bullying.
Yeah,
bullying, like, kids got to learn how to roast. Like, it all starts with that. It all starts with learning how to roast. If they roast you, you got to roast back. And that'll kill a lot of that bullying.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of, I need to transition because now we're at the bottom of the hour. Naomi Osaka this past weekend at Indian Wells, she had someone who was heckling her from the stands. Apparently it was Naomi, and excuse my language, mother, Naomi, you suck. And they kept repeating, Naomi, you suck, Naomi, you suck. And she went over in the middle of the match to the official and was like, hey, can you do something about this? Can I get the mic to tell them to stop? They were like, you can't do that during the match. You can't do it. So she lost the match. And at the end with her interview and stuff, she just kind of expressed how much it disappointed her, and almost to the point of tears. So, Naomi, someone we obviously know, 24 years old, has publicly dealt with kind of her battles and, enter troubles with mental health and from within. I just wanted to know you all's thoughts on this kind of moment for Naomi and stuff.
Sis, you go first, please.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I was saying, sis, you go first, please.
Okay.
On that. Yeah.
It's really heartbreaking. And it just goes to show that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I'm pretty sure that she's more inclined to be heckled right now for putting herself first, putting her mental health first, and being another one of those players that's unapologetically Black. Yes, she's biracial, but she made a statement wearing the mask through every round of the Open, was it summer before last, with the victims' name of police brutality's names across her face.
2020.
That ruffled feathers. Yeah, that ruffled feathers, and people couldn't. That put a target on her, and people could not wait to go at her. And so, in hindsight, it probably was better that she took that mental health break to strengthen herself for what she was going to be facing, because she might not have been able to withstand something like that had she not taken that break. That might have been something that broke her down in the middle of the match. But because she did the work and did what she needed to do to make herself whole, she was better equipped. Is it fair? Absolutely not. And it never will be fair for her in that sport. It doesn't matter. Serena is one of the greatest athletes of all time, but she's still Black in tennis. And so, like I said, the more things change, the more they stay the same. We're not post-racial yet. And it was good to be able to see her not completely let it defeat her. That's what I would say. I really am sorry it happened. It really does. It made you want to cry listening to her talk because it was just so ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Sis hit it everything right on the head about that. Being a dad and having a daughter that aspired to did great things at a young age in a country club sport, like tennis. My daughter swam, made All-American. It was just so funny, how people are, because I can remember like yesterday, swimming is one of those sports where the slower kids swim in the beginning, and the kids that are the fastest swim in the last heat. And what would happen sitting, in a majority crowd, when Shaniqua would swim in a slower heats, they keep they even someone would cheer a little bit because they thought it was my kid. But when it'd be the last heat and they say the name Sandy Johnson, and that's what we called her, Sandra Sandy, which is typical, a white name, and they see her and they like, that's your daughter? Like, yeah, their faces got a little different, and their butt cheeks tighten up a little bit and their mouths tighten up a little bit. And when she won the first time, it was a little uncomfortable. But when we went to Iowa in the Junior Olympics 2004 and took 4 gold medals, everybody already knew her. And I happened to look up during Black History Month, Black swimmers, and you got Simone Manuel out there and another sister, but it's still not a lot of Black folks, particularly in you got Colin Jones too, male, but we still not. And you talking about track shoots? Kyra Jefferson used to try to swim like Sandra. Yeah, Kyra from Detroit. Yes, her and Sandra used to swim together. But she'd be like, I'm gonna beat you, Sandra, because Sandra turned 28 recently, so she's a little bit older than Kyra. But and that's how small the world is. But going back on our sister, the tennis star, it's just rough. And what needs to happen, like we just said about the published piece about letting Cam stuff be known, we got to embrace that sister and let her know she's in love. She's loved to the point that maybe these self-appointed or not so self-appointed leaders of the Black community need to take a more active role and go to these matches so she'll feel like she's protected and not on the island. That's probably what needs to be happening. What probably needs to be happening is the way
we need to pull up. We need to pull up.
Right. If they hate one, if one hate, then we come 40 deep with love. Not raising a whole bunch of chaos, not cracking no heads, but hey, no, because she one of us. And unlike these other ones that are biracial, she'll say that she Black. I don't even, I'm Black. When they talk about Negro, African American, no, I'm Black. And if somebody say they Black, we the same.
Right. True. I think one question that I did have, she said the reason why she's been heckled before in matches and stuff, but the reason why she was so emotional in this one is because it's the same tournament where Venus and Serena 21 years ago were racially harassed by the fans. And she said watching the video, it kind of triggered her when she started to hear those rumblings. I think with kind of what went on with her mental health break about, dealing with press and, her request to kind of change the way that the media to athlete kind of relationship is and stuff like that. Plus the way she reacted to this, some people are kind of like, if you can't stand the heat, stay out the kitchen. I want to know what is your kind of response to that? Because both of you all seem extremely kind of way more on the empathetic side of this. So to someone who says, it's what comes with being a public figure, it comes with being the biggest star, the biggest face currently in the sport. You're going to have people come after LeBron. You're going to have people come after Naomi Osaka. You're going to have people come after Tom Brady. What is your response to that, I guess?
But here's the thing. You wouldn't say that to any of those white athletes, right, that you just going to have to deal with it. They putting people out. You know what I'm saying? They're starting GoFundMe's. Like, they're doing whatever they need to do to make sure. They're not telling you to just deal with it. They're not being told to just deal with it. She shouldn't be told to just deal with it. Is it a reality that she's going to have to just deal with it? Yes, but that shouldn't be the expectation, in my opinion. That shouldn't be the expectation at all.
Right. Good, bad, and different. Okay. When folks do, as Sis said, what about the GoFundMe for her? What about this? What about the political actors? I mean, anytime somebody can take assault rifle and kill 2 people and get a GoFundMe, get their legal bills paid and all this love. What about us? Why do we have to, everything, has to be 100% vetted? And I can go with our show, looking at somebody's pedigree and all of that. We do what we want to do. We don't have to sit back. We Black people, we do what we want to do. We kings of the universe. We ain't got to, what do we need? Oh, man, y'all gonna edit this out. It makes me angry that, we always have to meet and over 10 hours, we all have to meet and meet. Is this the right time? Is this the right person? Anything and everything. Look how long we waited to get behind Kaepernick to see if it was all right, to ask permission. But then I got a brother on Facebook, just had a birthday, and he's talking about raising $200, to send over to Ukraine, because Facebook said that was okay. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But what about, Naomi? What about her? And y'all brought up Venus and Serena. I'll talk about Dennis Rodman. Then they want to talk about why, some of these people are with white men. Because we hate ourselves so much and hate it on them, and then somebody said they look good. Somebody said it was finally okay that Venus and Serena looked good, and they was catching all that Hades for all them years, and people talking about them. And just for the record, Serena and Venus look good to me forever.
Yeah, all right.
Get that straight. Yeah, I'm married, and my wife had muscles before women having muscles was cool. So I ain't lying.
I heard it, but I guess is there anything else on that topic before we move on to tonight's news as well?
Well, no, that's to sum it up. We need to stand up and stand behind them and be vocal, because guess what? It's a couple things that everybody has a Twitter account. Everybody can get a Facebook, so everybody has a voice. So we need to galvanize and collect our voices together, and for a purpose that makes sense. And this really makes sense to put a hedge of protection around this young lady that's getting heckled.
Well,
if she's got the decency to wear Black Lives Matter, and all these people talking about Black Lives Matter,
it's time for us to show that hers matter. Yes, it's time to pull up. It is like, it's harder for a bully to stand out when they feel like it's easy when they think that it's just her. She's just their target. No one's behind her. No one's supporting her. You notice how bullies run in packs. They run in packs. You rarely see one bully. You rarely see one-on-one. They got to get a gang of people to gang up on one person. Naomi needs a gang of people. She needs a gang of backers. Period.
Well, to follow up on what Kurt was saying, and even what you just said, Sheena, what does it look like protecting Black women to you?
Speaking up, speaking out, being present, being physically present, being emotionally present and supportive. That's what it looks like. I mean, there's been so much division within our race. I mean, if you think about it, it took division to get Black people over here as slaves. Yeah. It ain't no way the Europeans was pulling up and they could overpower all of those African tribes. Yeah. It ain't no way. Well, it took division. Someone had to break away, and there had to be a break in the foundation for them to be able to come in. And it's the same way when they see solidarity. Sometimes when white supremacists and racists see solidarity on the Black side, they become so threatened. That's why people hated Black Lives Matter, because it showed some sense of solidarity, and they were threatened by that.
Rashad, respect and common decency, respect, that your mama, if you Black, your mama, has something to do with Black. I mean, it's just this really desensitized, just being desensitized and not thinking that every Black woman potentially is your wife, your mother, or your sister, your auntie. Once we get past that, my son-in-law was just with me, and we were looking at something on TV yesterday during the game, and they was talking about a beef between Jay-Z and Nas that I didn't even know existed. And all they were talking about was back in the day, all they was talking about, Jay-Z was talking about he was going with Nas's, on a battle rap, Nas's baby mama or something. We got to get away from just doing and saying anything just to make some money, and doing and saying things that will forward the Black agenda, without any monetary benefit.
Right. No, I mean, I hear you on that, and obviously it's a song that we've kind of all been singing for years and years and stuff like that, but tonight was also transitioning to the next topic. It was Selection Sunday, Selection Sunday. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. And for the men, the women's bracket will be announced a couple minutes after we recorded this. So apologies to the women. Obviously, you have Jackson State over there who went undefeated in the SWAC. You see Michigan right there, Kurt, at number 11. They got Colorado State. And let me see any other teams right here. Georgia State is facing Gonzaga. Dun dun dun. Unfortunate matchup for them.
That's your school, ain't it?
Yeah, that's Malik and I's school. We will be losing in the first round, unfortunately. You got Jacksonville State facing Auburn, Kansas over here and stuff. LSU. Let me see where Duke is. Let me see where Duke is seeded. They might be a middle seed after. Well, no, they're only a 2 seed after losing the regular season finale and then losing in the ACC championship. They're still 2 seeds. So I guess just any early predictions on the men's side of the men's bracket.
Well, I just don't see anybody beating Kansas right now. It's just too tough.
I honestly have no idea what's going on the men's side of the game this year. I know Gonzaga has Chet Holmgren. He's pretty good.
Yeah, but Gonzaga always.
That's what they said, but I feel
they always melt down in March, man. They do. They always melt down in March.
I feel like
and that's when it matters.
I don't. It's different this
year. Well, I don't. I mean, was it last year they played Baylor in the championship though?
Yeah, they made it to the championship game with Jalen Suggs, the number 1 recruit. This year they have the number 1 recruit, right. Chet Holmgren. Yeah, he's in Orlando now. But now they have another number 1 recruit from Minnesota, Chet Holmgren. So I mean, might be different this year.
Yeah.
Choking the Sweet 16, choking the Elite 8, choking the Final Four, choking the championship. Those are steps.
At some point they choking. Listen, at some point they're choking.
I think Gonzaga might do it this year.
Really?
I'm gonna keep betting Gonzaga until Gonzaga wins.
Well, you're gonna keep on betting. Have
Oh,
they
no.
ever won anything?
No, they've never won.
And it's
Never
so
won.
funny.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Right. Right. It's so funny. It's like 3 places. No, it's like 4 schools. And they keep telling me where they at, but I always, be forgetting. One is Weber State, the other one is Boise State, Valparaiso, and Gonzaga. I still don't know where Gonzaga is.
Washington, I believe.
I know it's in Washington.
There we go. There you go.
Yeah, you know, I know that.
I know. I did. I had to make sure I knew it myself.
Right. It's just, it's almost like, saying dude's name, for the Bucks.
You mean for the Dolphins too, at Tagovailoa?
Oh, man, how do you always say these folks' names? You can say Giannis
Antetokounmpo.
Wait a minute, sis, you say it again.
Antetokounmpo? Is that right?
How come everybody? I gotta go to I got a speech impediment.
Tagovailoa.
I can't say a Samoan name and I can't say some Nigerian names, and I got a Nigerian brother-in-law.
But Giannis is, like the Nigerian pronunciation of it is like Antantun.
Wait a minute,
like there's
is he
a D
from
in
Nigeria?
There. Yeah, he's from Nigeria. But
who?
The way that we say it is the Greek
They
way.
about to pick me off this show.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Not after but I think, upset alert, I got UAB beating Houston. I'll say that right now. So I got that 12 beating that 5. And yeah, and that's all I'll bet right now. And then I'm
about to say, Richard, I'm gonna hold my peace till we'll have a midweek show, probably till Thursday or something,
Right. And then the women's side, off top, I think Maryland has a good chance. It's been so even this year. On the women's side, it's been so much chaos, especially with Paige Beckers going down in the middle of the season. But I think UConn might be able to do it just because Paige is back. And then the team got better because they didn't know how to play basketball without her. They were forced to learn how to play the game of basketball without her for about 2 months. And now she's back. I think they might be able to do it. But you also have Maryland as a dark horse. Of course, everybody's looking at South Carolina, but South Carolina looked a lot rocky in that tournament. So, if I had to, I don't know right now. I don't know. They haven't even announced the bracket yet. But my upset pick there. Fine. So for the men's side, remember, my upset pick in the first round is UAB.
Wait a minute. You talking women basketball, and we got Sheena here, and we've been kind of talking political. Now we can just transition quickly to geopolitical. Sis, talk to me about Brittany Griner over there in Russia.
I actually just wrote about Brittany on my Revolt column that went out on Thursday. With regards to, a lot of people didn't know. I have like a biweekly column over there called the Halftime Report. And so wait a
minute. Say that in earnest, so our listening audience can know, because we're banned from saying certain names on this show for the simple fact that until they start giving Black people love, we're not going to be acting as if they're the gods of sports journalism, because they got a mouth and an opinion just like me,
right.
So since you part of the Out of Bounds crew, please in detail talk about your stuff.
Well, I have a biweekly column. It usually runs on Wednesdays, called the Halftime Report on Revolt. Just touch on a number of different issues and stories and things pertaining to Black people in sports. And this week, instead of Wednesday, it ran on Thursday, and I wrote about Brittany Griner, because a lot of people don't know what she was even doing over there in the first place, what she's facing, what the WNBA and NBA, what their response has been, why has it been that, and what are they doing to get her home? So a lot of people did not know. We know that there's a wage gap, obviously, between the WNBA and the NBA, but Brittany makes $1 million over in Russia. in the off season, and her max salary with the WNBA is $228.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost 4 times, the max contract stateside. Diana Taurasi even made like 1.5 million one season to forego. They paid her to rest. They paid her to take the WNBA season off. So that's what she was doing over there. That's what a lot of women do during the off season that don't have the luxury to make the millions here. They go overseas. They can make up to, I think one of the max contracts is up to 20 million or something like that. And so that's what she was doing over there. She was coming back home for a 2-week break that they take before the FIBA championship tournament. So she was coming home for that. And that's when they apprehended her at the airport. There was some cannabis oil in a vape pen is the allegation. She's facing up to 10 years. The difficulty with getting her out of Russia is the fact that everyone's been told to leave, like all the state consulates and things like that would normally be over there to help her, the embassy, they've been told to leave the country for safety. So there's not really a lot of people over there that can really help her, which makes the situation scary. By the time we found out in mainstream media that she had been locked up, she had been detained almost a month.
A month?
Almost a month, yeah. Because if you look at the dates of when they took that break, it was early part of February. So she's been over there. She's been detained for more than a month at this point. There's so many moving pieces to the story, but she's been detained for over a month. The Secretary of State has said that they're going to, they're doing their best to get all Americans back to safety. He did not name her specifically. And they said, a lot of people have said, and they have surmised that if this story gets too much attention, Russian officials will be more likely to look at her as an asset that they can withhold from the United States, the same way the United States is cutting off their finances and Apple Pay and all that stuff and taking their vodka off the shelf. She could be a bargaining chip if they blow her story up as, like the way that they should. So that's kind of the caveat that we're dealing with here. If you talk a little bit too much about it, it could end up, hurting her safety or her ability to get back over.
Yeah, and that was my fear too, that she'd be utilized as a political football, and
because that I was like, why isn't anybody talking about this? And they were like, well, because privacy issues, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I kind of get it, but yeah, the WNBA had that little 2-sentence statement though. I wasn't really feeling that.
All right, and this is also kind of the political games that they play often. I could recall. In certain administrations when we would have a political prisoner per se, and they used to call Jesse Jackson over there, and he could go over there to the Middle East and bring somebody home. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't let Donald John Trump go over there and get Brittany Griner. And it wouldn't be too far-fetched because
they were homies.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too far-fetched because Rashard gets on me because I always bring everything back to Detroit, but Donald Trump is the one who pardoned Kwame Kilpatrick, and they care more about money and rubbing each other's noses in it than the actual people involved in these type of situations. So, as a chaplain, I got prayers for everybody, including Brittany Griner, because I mean anything can happen right now. As we can see once we wake up every day, just all of this craziness, every day, all the time.
Yeah, a couple things about BG too. One of the greatest players to ever play the game, changed the game forever. The only player still in the league right now dunking on a consistent basis, and she's been kind of undercovered, underreported just in her career period because she's gay and she has dreads and she has tattoos. Like that's literally
she's 6'8". Yeah,
exactly.
The Russian government isn't, and the Russian government isn't an ally to the LGBT. So that's why there's a lot of concerns about her safety when it comes to that too.
Exactly. So it's kind of like this falls right in line with the rest of her career of like, I don't know if you guys seen it. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, no, I mean like football players back in the day and baseball players, I mean, it's really the NBA's, and I dare say the players. I mean, there's two people that need to get taken care of in the NBA. It's them old folks, them guys who be hobbling to an All-Star weekend, and it's the WNBA players. It don't make no sense for them ladies to be making the type of money that they make, even even if the ratings and the fan participation. I mean, it's worse. I mean, it's almost as bad as the G League. For the NBA, them cats only make 50, 60,000.
Well,
Why wouldn't they?
That's the minimum in the WNBA. There are some WNBA players that are making 60.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible.
Right. No, for sure. And I guess just Sheena wrapping up. I have like two quick questions, and then we got to get King and Queen of the Week and get out of here.
First we already got the Queen of the Week. We looking at
right. But we already got the Queen of the Week. All right, so King of the Week and we're out of here. First question.
And Malik don't get no vote this week.
hey, everybody say free Malik in the comments. If you're watching right now, you got to the point, say free Malik. But first things first, any advice to any young Black girl that's watching this right now, or a young Black woman who's in college right now to do sports journalism? They might even be an athlete at the end of their playing career, and they want to transition over into sports journalism. What would your advice be to that young lady?
Be yourself. It's your greatest asset, your personality. Don't water yourself down. Be ready to do the work and be knowledgeable. Have that background information, because you're going to get tried. Being a double minority, be ready to step to the plate and let your knowledge take the forefront, but be yourself. Like that's your calling card. That's what's going to set you apart. You're going to have the extra sauce. You're going to have the extra swag. Be yourself and make it work to your advantage. LaMelo
Ball in Charlotte. How is the culture? How is seeing the kind of the LaMelo Ball era?
It's electric. Like, people are finally getting excited about Charlotte Hornets basketball again. They are in a little bit of a rut lately, but they are getting excited about the buzz again here in the Queen City. All right. King of the Week, Kurt, you have a pick, King of the Week?
It's a little more difficult this week. Rashard, based on that, I'm gonna defer to your judgment.
I had one guy on the court.
Wait a minute. I got to do it official. As part of the Out of Bounds crew, I yield my pick and time to Mr. Rashard Milliken.
All in favor, say aye. All right. I had two people. So this person, you can go on the court, and then a person you can go off the court. So I guess I'll do that. A bipartisan King of the Week. On the court has to be LeBron James, 37 years old, 50 points twice in a week. Like, Lakers season is on the line, and he's playing out of his mind because the team is terrible, and Anthony Davis is unavailable. Terrible. And then off the court, I have to go Bismack Biyombo, donating his entire season salary to his hometown over there in Congo, home country, in honor of his late father. So shout out to Bismack Biyombo. That's my King of the Week.
And those are solid. That's why I don't mind deferring to you, brother.
I appreciate it. Sheena, any King of the Week pick from you?
I think both of yours are solid. Both of yours are really, really good. So we're gonna rock with that, because I just been all women, all everything, all March. But I'm gonna go ahead and defer to you as well. Those are good picks.
Well, I appreciate that. Do you have a Queen of the Week?
Queen of the Week. Man, there's so many. We're going to go with Naomi. We're going to go with Naomi for being able to show her vulnerability and call people out on their behavior. So we're going to go with Miss Osaka this week.
Salute to Naomi. Sheena, where can people find you, find your work, all that good stuff, follow you on social media, all that good stuff?
So I mentioned you guys can check out Halftime Report, and a lot of those articles are pretty evergreen. So go over there, read some of my stuff, and let me know what you think. I had one of my favorites so far was The Plight of the Black Quarterback. I wrote that last year, but it's still relevant today. And that's on revolt.tv. It's called The Halftime Report. I'm also on Queen City News Now, kind of a lot. I'll be on there Wednesday morning talking about impending free agency. All of my combine NFL coverage is on Fox Sports 1340 AM. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. It's the same username, Sheena_Marie and the number 3.
Kurt, anything from you?
Yeah.
Anything from you signing off?
No, I got nothing. Other than she mentioned the combine, and I'm gonna keep on shouting out my boy's son, Brees Hall. So yeah, I gotta keep. I mean, it's so cool that when your boys start having kids and they start doing stuff, and you can be like, remember when,
For sure.
I mean, hey, I got that grandbaby in 17 years. He probably gonna be 6'9" and a half.
One thing about time is it keeps moving, man.
It's gonna keep moving.
The kids who graduated and who were born in 2000, they're graduating college this year, undergrad.
Right.
That's an insane stat. The kids who were born in 2000 have undergrad this year. Well, we appreciate it so much. Out of Bounds, Rashad Milligan, Curtis, Johnson, and our special guest this week, Sheena Quick. We appreciate it so much, Sheena. Until next time, you all take care of yourselves.